Well, similar to the one we had last week, obviously, but hopefully a better result. I was pleased that our team was able to regroup last week, and that they looked like they really cared about winning, and the leaders stepped up and they consolidated their efforts and came up with a plan and worked hard and showed up ready to play. And they were excited about it and believed that we could win. The game was over. Obviously, we're down because we lost the ball game. So, we're going to have to regroup again and obviously play a lot better and work hard in practice and be more sure. We have a lot of guys that are giving a great effort, but they're not getting the job done. While they're giving the great effort, they're working really hard and playing hard, but making mistakes. Sometimes they're missed assignments, and sometimes there are technical errors, but most of the time it's things that they should be able to do and things that they've done before, and the lack of execution, there's really no excuse for it, but it's kind of like a quandary in some ways, why we don't execute as well as we can as some of the little things that they practice at it and work at throughout the course of the season, so maybe we're stressing or pressing, maybe the lofty expectations and the lack of success, maybe all that together collectively, is a lot for anybody, and right now it's a lot for a football team. What's up, guys?
Last week you had some team meetings and players had some meetings. Was that intense like today, or how do you regroup? You do the same thing you did kind of last week from that regard.
They don't have necessarily had the same types of meetings. I think a lot of those things have been said and done, but obviously our team, collectively has to make a choice to go out there and give their best effort from a practice standpoint and a preparation standpoint, and do all they can to prepare themselves to win. I don't question their effort. I love the way they worked throughout the course of the week, and we showed up yesterday ready to play. We scored on our opening drive, and when we had some 3 and outs and some 5 and outs in the first half, we got some good field position and we didn't capitalize on it. And as a result, we kept putting their offense on the field, and over a period of time it wore our defense down some. We're trying to play good defense with some banged up players, and that's tough when you're on the field too often throughout the course of the ball game. So there's no earmarked speech that I have in a file somewhere to pull out and go into to recite to our team based on where we're at right now. We have to collectively rally up, and then you can't allow a lack of success to take your spirit away. You can't allow a lack of support to take your spirit away. And I think that's where we're at as a football team right now. We have to gain our strength from one another and get ready to play hard and win, even though we won't have the type of season that we had anticipated or one that we had worked hard for or dreamed about. We can still have a winning season and a successful season and a season with postseason play. So there's still a lot to play for, and I don't believe that anyone has given up yet.
How would you evaluate the play of the offensive line after watching the film?
I don't know what their actual grades are, but a lot of guys did some things the best they've ever done. But Penn State has good players too, and we would have 4 guys doing a good job and 1 guy not getting it done. It would result in a sack or pressure for the quarterback, or maybe negate a run. But I thought Kevin Panthal, even though he got turned a couple times and he created some pressure on the quarterback, the other plays that he was out there they were much better than what he had done from a technical standpoint and an execution standpoint. Compared to any point in time throughout the course of the season. I really felt like going into the game that the light had come on for him, and if I took a handful of plays out, I said, man, he played awfully darn good today. So I don't think that we played near as well as we need to in order to catch up, when we're behind, and throwing the standpoint, with protect our quarterback a lot better. But there were some guys that did some good things on Saturday, but the end result not good enough to protect our quarterback well enough for us to win the ball game.
How many drops did you guys end up having?
Probably had about 10. And then, sometimes when the quarterback is under pressure, the ball doesn't come out of his hand quite the same when he's throwing the ball. At the same time, he's running for his life. The accuracy and the catchable balls aren't quite the same. So it was a tough assignment. We had some receivers that dropped some balls, but some of the passes were thrown while the quarterback was under duress, and sometimes those aren't the easiest passes to catch. But we had about 10 drop passes, which is a lot. you know, and we probably had 10 hits on our quarterback, big hits on our quarterback, which is way too many.
Is that excluding the one sack?
That's counting everything. That's counting everything, a sack and a hit. So too much pressure on the quarterback, and didn't catch the ball near well enough. We have to protect a lot better, obviously.
Last year this time, I think we were talking about big plays on defense, and it seems like that's kind of crept up a little bit the last couple games especially. Is it guys not making the plays? Is it just a mistake? Is how
Big plays really was the outcome of the ball game. You know,
Yeah.
every one of their scoring drives, somewhere in those scoring drives, we
Right.
allowed a big play from a defensive standpoint, you know, and they cashed in on it, you know. And again, like I said earlier, you know, this guy's given good effort, but not executing and not what we call DYJ, do your job. You know, you have to stay in your back pedal, you know, longer and be more disciplined and not choose a side to turn and maybe choose the wrong way. You know, if you're in a particular coverage, you have to, if you're an offensive lineman and your end's close to you, you have to set straight back and work a line. And if you get width, then you're vulnerable to getting beat inside. So a guy can be trying really hard and giving a great effort, but if he doesn't do it just right, then you didn't DYJ, you didn't do your job. So the big plays were a result of guys not doing their job, and not necessarily a lack of effort.
Stick with Mark this week at quarterback?
So far, unless something changes. I thought he did pretty good for the most part. You know, still has to, from a decision-making standpoint, I take a few of those plays back, but I thought he showed courage and threw the ball and played hard, and he's a guy that can put us in position to win right now.
you feeling okay?
Me?
No, Robert. How are
I
you
feel
feeling?
Damn good, thank you. I think Robert's feeling pretty good. You know, he's a little sore today,
Right.
but he's going to be okay. How about you? How you feeling today? Good, good.
You didn't get hit a bunch yesterday.
No, well, not by any other players, but I got hit a bunch yesterday.
How is Ricardo and Josh playing? You know, we talked about those guys as potentially some of the best big, you know, corners in the Big Ten. How do you think they've performed this year?
Not as well as we'd have liked for them to, or not as well as they can. I thought that Ricardo and Josh both started the season off playing very well. There were some games early in the season where Josh was at the point of attack an inordinate amount of times and had success in an inordinate amount of times, as many times as anybody that I've been around being at the point of attack. So they both started the season off playing very, very well. You know, right now we're not as healthy up front, and that negates some of the rush, and that can allow your secondary to be exploited some. And Ricardo has really struggled with injuries. He's nowhere close to where he was at the beginning of the season from a health standpoint, but he's much further along than maybe he was 2 or 3 weeks ago. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was concerned. A couple of weeks ago, I was concerned about whether or not he had damaged himself, and there was nothing to finish the season out. He was better this Saturday than last Saturday, but not where he has been in the past, and hopefully it didn't set him back too much, and he'll be further along this week and good enough to make a difference.
Anything else?
Good.